Chapter 61 Stupid Female Bear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Unify the Northern Territory. Han Wanxiang was even more shocked. He didn't expect that Dongfang Yuan's ambition would be so big. Unify the Northern Territory? Does he have this strength? You know, all the overlord-level forces in the entire Northern Territory have the background of holy soldiers and are extremely powerful. As for the Tianyan Dynasty, although Dongfang Yuan was mysterious and had advanced cultivation, Han Wanxiang believed that he did not have the strength to unify the Northern Territory. Even the Xuanhuan sect can only dominate one side of the Northern Territory. It is almost impossible to rule the entire Northern Territory. At this moment, Wanxiang came in from the palace door and reported, "Your Majesty, Man Sun and Lang Yao from 10,000 Beasts Forest have arrived at the palace door. You go and bring them in. Besides, let Tai Poyan go to Tianlao to bring Man Gang over, and also let General Feipeng come over." Dongfang Yuan ordered. "Yes, Your Majesty." That the left Prime Minister also went down immediately. Dongfang Yuan also planned in his heart to let Feipeng show his skills. He and Chonglou have just broken through to semi-saint status, so Zhenchangzi is the best candidate. If Medusa were to take action, it would be a bit too fussy. Not long after, Feipeng, wearing a suit of silver-white soft armor, walked in slowly. "I have met Your Majesty." Feipeng saluted. "General, no need to be polite. The general will wait aside for a moment. The general will need to take action at that time to scare some young people." Dongfang Yuan said calmly. "Yes, Your Majesty." General Feipeng also stood opposite King Tianyu, with a calm expression and no emotion on his face. Dongfang Yuan never thought that 10,000 Beasts Forest would have a good deal with him. If they did not retaliate, then they would not be 10,000 Beasts Forest. Shortly after, Wanxiang and the people from 10,000 Beasts Forest came in one after another. One Beast Lin was led by Man Sun and Lang Yao this time, and they were followed by some powerful monsters from the Tianzun realm and the Dharma phase realm. Both Man Sun and Lang Yao looked like humans, but they did not hide the aura of monsters on their bodies. Xuanhuan's face was serious. When he came to the main hall, he showed no respect at all. Instead, he called by name, "Dongfang Yuan, where is our young master? Bold! Can you name me, His Majesty the Tianyan Dynasty, by name? Why don't you kneel down and admit your mistake quickly?" King Tianyu stood nearby and immediately yelled at Xuanhuan. Even Feipeng couldn't help but give Man Sun a cold look at this moment. As long as Dongfang Yuan gives an order, he can immediately take action and suppress all these people. Who do you think you are? Are you qualified to talk about me? We, 10,000 Beasts Forest, are the dominant force in the Northern Territory, and I am the second strongest person in the Bear clan. It is you Yuan Emperor who need to salute me. Xuanhuan's tone was unkind. At this moment, he was already angry and had the idea of taking action. Fortunately, Lang Yao held her down and asked her to calm down. Lang Yao stepped forward and hugged Dongfang Yuan. "Emperor Yuan, we have brought all the things you want. I wonder where Man Gang is. If we don't see Man Gang, we're afraid we won't be able to give these things to you." Lang Yao's tone was quite normal. After all, he knew very well that the purpose this time was to save Man Gang first. If Man Sun were to take action directly, if something happened to Man Gang, they would have failed. Venerable Lang Yao is actually a smart man. One Beast Forest sent you to keep an eye on this stupid female bear. It was a wise decision. Dongfang Yuan laughed. "You." Xuanhuan looked angry and was about to fight back, but Lang Yao held her down in time. "There is no way. The bear tribe has a bad temper by nature. Compared to the cunning and keen wolves, there is a huge gap in IQ. Emperor Yuan, there is no point in provoking generals. Please let us see Gangong first before talking about other things." After Lang Yao stopped Man Sun, he still had a smile on his face and said unhurriedly. At this time, he glanced around and suddenly discovered that the woman standing to the left of Dongfang Yuan was actually a saint from the Xuanhuan sect. How is this going? How come Han Wanxiang, the saint of the Xuanhuan sect, is in the Tianyan Dynasty? Could it be that the two forces secretly combined? Just when Lang Yao was thinking extremely hard in his heart, Dongfang Yuan said with a playful expression, don't worry, I have already sent someone to bring him here. It won't take long. At this time, inside the prison, Taipoyan came over with a few soldiers, opened the cell door, and came in to take a look. Taipoyan was a little confused. What's the situation? Man Gang was lying on the bed with a look of enjoyment on his face, while Yingdao, with disheveled hair and bruises all over his body, was massaging Man Gang's feet. This situation immediately made him a little confused. Man Gang, Yingdao, what's going on with you two? Taipoyan frowned and asked. Oh. As a result, Yingdao turned his head, his hair was pushed aside, his nose was bruised and his face was swollen, not a single tooth was left, and he couldn't speak at all. Shadow Yida, the third elder of Fengyun sect. Where is he? Man had just heard the name Yingdao, and now he was looking around with curiosity. He didn't even realize that Yingdao was the embarrassed old man who was giving him a massage after he beat him to pieces. Taipoyan said nothing, but looked at him with a frown. Man Gang looked at him in the eyes. Suddenly, he jumped up. Seeing that his face was so bruised that it looked like Yingdao, he was a little shocked and said, "Are you Yingda?" Woo-woo. Yingdao was speechless and could only keep nodding wildly. It's so cool that I took a breath of fresh air. He actually beat Yingda into a pig's head? But that's not right. Where did Yingdao's cultivation go? He is a powerful person in the heavenly realm. How could there be no cultivation? Just when he was about to continue asking, Taipoyan interrupted him. Okay, if you have any questions, let's talk about it later if you can still see each other. Take Man Gang away. Yes. Several soldiers immediately went up and left the prison with Man Gang and Taipoyan directly. Where are you taking me? Is someone here to save me? Hey, talk. Gangang's voice became farther and farther away, until it disappeared completely, and Yingdao lay on the bed, crying loudly, crying with anger on his face. Hulua Pingyang was bullied by dogs. Dongfang Yuan, Man Gang, after I get out, I will make sure you repay me twice as much. I will lock you all up, cut off your flesh one by one, and then poison the wounds to cause tumors to grow. Keep cutting. I will make your life worse than death for eternity. Yingdao was roaring in his heart, for the pain and humiliation he had suffered these days. He swore that when he got out, Dongfang Yuan and Man Gang would repay tenfold. Chapter 62 Feipeng suppresses the enemy. Wanxiang was shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the main hall, not long after, Taipoyan brought Man Gang in. As soon as Man Gang saw Man Sun and Lang Yao, he immediately shouted excitedly, Mom! Uncle Yao! You guys are here to save me. Seeing that the 10,000 Beasts Forest had indeed sent strong men to save him, Mandang felt confident in his heart, and his expression was very ecstatic. Mom! Dongfang Yuan smiled on his face. This Bear King is really powerful. Rabbits don't eat grass near their nests, so Xuanhuan is said to have some blood relationship with him. He does this. TSK, your circle is really chaotic. Ganger, are you okay? Don't worry, little mom will rescue you today. Man Sun felt relieved after seeing that Man Gang was not seriously injured. Lang Yao frowned at this moment. He originally wanted to act according to the original plan. From the moment he saw Wanxiang, he was a little shaken. The wolves are still very vigilant. At this time, Taipoyan was also holding on to Man Gang and had no intention of letting him go. I just brought it to you. What about the things I asked 10,000 Beasts Forest to give you? Dongfang Yuan sat at the top and said slowly, with a gloomy and solemn look on his face. Xuanhuan took out a space ring and threw it directly to Xuanhuan next to him. Xuanhuan took a look, and after confirming that it was correct, he said to Dongfang Yuan, Your Majesty, there are enough things. It is good. I have kept my word. Marshal Tai, let him go. Dongfang Yuan said with a smile, and immediately, Taipoyan let Man Gang go. The latter ran over immediately. Mom! It can't be settled like this. They locked me up and didn't give me food or drink. You must help me take revenge. Man Gang looked aggrieved and pitiful, and complained to Man Sun. Don't worry just now. As long as my little mother is here, I will definitely help you get revenge. Man Sun touched Man Gang's head and comforted him. At this moment, those powerful men from 10,000 Beast Forest who came with Man Sun obviously had no intention of leaving. Power gradually gathered in their palms, and as long as Man Sun gave the order, they would take action. Xuanhuan, what do you mean? Now that the deal has been completed, you can leave. What? With this aggressive look, do you want to avenge Man Gang on the spot? Dongfang Yuan said with a subtle look on his face. Seeing the expression on Dongfang Yuan's face, Lang Yao immediately made a conclusion in his heart. He is fearless. At this time, Lang Yao immediately advised, Emperor Yuan has misunderstood, we will leave immediately. Seeing that the situation was not right, Lang Yaoyan planned to change his plan immediately and go first. When he turned around, he gave Man Sun a look. She didn't expect it. At this moment, Xuanhuan's inner fighting spirit has reached its peak. What are you going to go? Kill me. No one from the Tianyan Dynasty will be left alive today. All die. Boom boom boom. Man Sun roared fiercely, and immediately, the aura of the 8th level of Tianzuan realm emanated from her body, including the powerful men in the 10,000 Beasts Forest. All of them immediately took action against Xuanhuan, Feipeng, and others. The violent beast power ravaged the entire hall, and Man Sun turned into Bear Paws, bursting out with extremely violent beast power, and killed Dongfang Yuan. Wanxiang watched the situation on the court change in surprise, and the look on her face also changed. Her hands unconsciously grasped Dongfang Yuan's shoulders, as if she was afraid that something would happen to him. Medusa's face was expressionless, and there was only an indifferent look in her eyes, as if everything was just a trivial matter to her. Lang Yao didn't expect that Man Sun would explode so fiercely. He had no choice but to fight towards Dongfang Yuan with Xuanhuan. Dongfang Yuan's face remained calm when he saw two powerful men at the 8th level of the Tianzuan realm coming towards him. Go ahead. Dongfang Yuan said softly. The next moment, an unparalleled half-saint power enveloped the entire hall in less than half a breath. Everyone seemed to have stepped into a magnetic field. This semi-holy power made many people in the hall change their expressions and become horrified. A powerful man in the semi-sacred realm. Lang Yao was the first to speak in horror. He was so heartbroken that he had no time to think and immediately ran away from the palace, but at this moment, Feipeng stretched his hand in mid-air and suddenly pressed down hard. Bang bang bang. What? Everyone in 10,000 Beasts Forest was instantly suppressed by this semi-holy power. The huge size of Man Sun and others hit the ground hard, and the palace stones cracked instantly. Everyone who came to 10,000 Beasts Forest this time, including Man Gang, were all subdued on the floor at this moment. The power of the semi-saint was like stars pressing down on their backs, and they couldn't move at all. Feipeng slowly withdrew his hand. At this moment, Wanxiang, Xuanhuan, Feipeng, and King Tianyu looked at Feipeng with extremely strong shock in their eyes. Half holy. This is an ancestor-level figure of an overlord-level force. Basically, in the entire northern territory, there are old monster levels, and Feipeng turned out to be a half-saint. This is too shocking, especially Wanxiang. She is a saint from the Xuanhuan Sect, and she also understands the value of being a semi-saint in the northern territory. That's why she was so shocked that there was a half-saint in Tianyan Dynasty. However, what she was even more curious about was how could this half-saint be so obedient to Dongfang Yuan. This man has too many secrets. It seems that there is really a big difference from other men. Wanxiang didn't know that her hand at this moment was still holding Dongfang Yuan's shoulder. Dongfang Yuan unknowingly touched her smooth and tender little hand. We miss Han, are you scared? It's okay, anything unexpected will happen to me, so you don't have to be too shocked. Say it. Dongfang Yuan pulled his hand, but Wanxiang didn't notice, and was directly pulled into Dongfang Yuan's arms. Above the main hall, in full view of everyone, Wanxiang reacted and her face turned red instantly. Dongfang Yuan, you. Great Saint Han, a sensible woman will not let her man lose face and thus be unable to step down. If you break away from me now, where should I put my face? That when Wanxiang was about to speak, Dongfang Yuan secretly sent her a message. After Wanxiang heard the message, he hesitated and became entangled in his heart. In the end, she did not choose to break away and let Dongfang Yuan hold her. his hands touching her delicate thighs. Humph. I'm not your woman. This time I'm just trying to save your face so that you don't retaliate against me. But it's just this time, I won't do it next time. Han Wanxiang was still a little embarrassed. She wanted to save face, so she was a little arrogant and secretly sent a message to Dongfang Yuan. Chapter 63 Roasted Bear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dongfang Yuan smiled lightly on his face, although Han Wanxiang said this, subconsciously, she did not resist, compared with the previous disgust, for Dongfang Yuan, now more than half of the success was achieved in capturing Han Wanxiang. His hands gradually moved up to his hips, hugging her waist and lowering her arms, hugging her tighter and tighter. Han Wanxiang's face turned a little redder because of shyness. Half-saint. How is this possible? How could you have a half-saint? Man Sun looked horrified at this moment. She couldn't figure out why there were semi-saints in the Tianyan Dynasty. How can you know the background of our Tianyan Dynasty? Man Sun, Lang Yao, you two are the core senior leaders of 10,000 Beasts Forest. If I kill you, what do you think the consequences will be? Dongfang Yuan hugged Han Wanxiang and smiled with interest on his face. If you dare to kill us, you are declaring war on behalf of the 10,000 Beasts Forest. The three Beast Kings will definitely avenge us and fight your Tianyan Dynasty until death. At this critical moment, Xuanhuan is still threatening Dongfang Yuan. Sure enough, Xiaomengde said that anger can make a person lose his cool and lower his IQ. This sentence is very reasonable. At this moment, Man Gang was trembling with fear, lying on the ground and not daring to speak at all. How proud he had been just now, how embarrassed he was now. He really didn't expect that General Feipeng of the Tianyan Dynasty would actually be a semi-saint. Man Gang, who had already learned his lesson from the last time, did not dare to threaten him at all at this moment and chose to remain silent. Lang Yao's face was completely pale at this moment. How could he not know that Dongfang Yuan has suppressed them now? With the presence of a semi-saint, it can be said that now all of their lives are in the hands of Dongfang Yuan. The most important thing at this moment is to beg for mercy and save his life, instead of being stupid and wanting to threaten. He is really not afraid of opponents who are like gods, but teammates who are like pigs. Lang Yao's face was pale, with a hint of despair. Yo. According to what you say, then I really can't kill you? Dongfang Yuan said with a joking smile. Humph. You just understand. Even if there are half-saints in your Tianyan Dynasty, our 10,000 Beast Forest is not without them. And we still have the foundation of a holy soldier. If we really fight to the death, you will still be defeated. At this moment, Xuanhuan couldn't see the expression on Dongfang Yuan's face because he was suppressed on the ground. She heard what Dongfang Yuan said before, and it was true that Dongfang Yuan was very afraid of the secrets of the 10,000 Beasts Forest and did not dare to kill them. Dongfang Yuan nodded playfully at this time. Okay, if that's the case, then I won't kill you. Marshal Iron, inform the soldiers to light a fire and prepare charcoal, and roast all these people in 10,000 Beasts Forest for me. Just bring the fattest meat from these bears to me. As for the rest, you can share it yourself. In addition, after roasting the beast heads of Lang Yao, Man Sun, and Man Gang, they will be sent directly to the 10,000 Beasts Forest for the Bear King and others to taste. Yes. Your Majesty. Come here. Take them all away. Tai Poyan immediately took the order. Then, he shouted, and hundreds of soldiers came outside the door, carrying Man Sun and others, wanting to drag them away to roast them. Lang Yao's face was pale and desperate, his lips were trembling, and he could no longer speak. Xuanhuan's face finally showed fear at this time. Grilled. Dongfang Yuan, this is treating them as food. Even Han Wanxiang, who was held in his arms, was shocked when he heard Dongfang Yuan's words. Barbecue the monsters from the heavenly realm. This is definitely the first time in the history of the Northern Territory. It's something that has never happened before. It's so crazy. People in the entire Northern Territory may have eaten some wild monsters, but eating 10,000 Beasts Forest, and also being a core member of 10,000 Beasts Forest, this is absolutely unprecedented. as if feeling Han Wanxiang's surprise. Dongfang Yuan touched Han Wanxiang's thigh and couldn't help but pat Han Wanxiang's flesh a few times. He said aloud, "After it's baked, call over Xinrou and Qingli, and let's taste it together." Han Wanxiang did not refuse immediately. To be honest, she herself was quite curious about what the meat of a Tianzun-level monster would taste like. Okay, Han Wanxiang responded in a low voice. Later, Xunhuan and others were gradually dragged away. Dongfang Yuan, I was wrong. If you go around us once, I will make you a cow or a horse, but don't roast us. Emperor Yuan. Emperor Yuan. Spare your life. Don't roast me. I'm still valuable. You can use me to blackmail my father. Emperor Yuan, please spare my life. At this time, Xunhuan was the first to beg for mercy. When he heard that she was going to be used as food, it was, times more terrifying than killing her. Just imagine, if you were tied to a wooden frame while you were conscious, sprinkled with seasonings, and roasted over a flame, what a terrible thing it would be. Not to mention Man Gang, his legs were so scared that he even let Dongfang Yuan threaten his father with him in order to survive, a truly filial son. In addition, there are a large number of those in the Tianzun realm and the Dharma realm in the 10,000 Beasts Forest who are begging Dongfang Yuan to let them go, but Dongfang Yuan no longer wants them to live. As they were dragged away, the sound gradually disappeared from everyone's ears. After everyone left, Dongfang Yuan brought Han Wanxiang and Medusa to Qian Xinrou's palace. Xiao Qingli is also there. The 5 people gathered around the table. What do you want us to do here? Xiao Qingli couldn't help but ask. Don't worry, my dear, you'll know after a while. Dongfang Yuan smiled mysteriously. Not long after, several palace maids brought several plates and placed them on the table. When they were opened, they were all filled with golden bear meat. This is... Qian Xinrou said a little surprised. Dongfang Yuan explained everything to them. These are all the meat from Man Sun and the strong men from the bear clan Tianzun realm who just followed. I didn't expect that I would be able to taste beast meat at the level of the Heavenly Lord in my lifetime. It's really a blessing from your majesty. Qian Xinrou said with a smile. Ha 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 ha. Xinrou, now that you are pregnant, you should take good care of yourself. Come on, eat more. My beloved concubine, Wanxiang, Medusa, you guys should eat too. It's just baked and it's still warm. As Dongfang Yuan finished speaking, everyone began to eat. For Han Wanxiang and Qian Xinrou, this meat is definitely a good tonic and extremely delicious, but for Medusa and Xiao Qingli, it was not that amazing. After all, when Xiao Qingli was the empress, she actually ate a real dragon with the blood of a mythical beast. That delicious meaty taste is considered delicious to her. Chapter 64 9 Turns of Reincarnation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Dongfang Yuan and several beauties finished eating, they returned to their bedroom. There are still a few useless elixirs in his warehouse now. System, use the cultivation improvement card. Dongfang Yuan said in his heart. After being introduced to the system before, he understood that this cultivation improvement card is like a lottery. It all depends on your European energy, is using. Stare. The use of the cultivation improvement card is completed. The current cultivation level of the host is the peak of Tianzun realm. The peak of Tianzun realm, not bad, just so. But I still have 2 more. System, use another one. Dongfang Yuan thought for a while and decided to use another one, is using. Stare. The cultivation improvement card has been used. Now the host's cultivation level has been promoted to the 2nd level of Saint Realm. Dongfang Yuan was a little surprised at this time. I didn't expect that I would be promoted to the Saint Realm. Feeling the holy power in his body, it is indeed completely different from the previous power. For him now, killing someone in the Tianzun realm is as easy as trampling on an ant. Even if it is to kill a half-saint, it can be destroyed with just a hand. System, at what stage is my true combat power now? Because this is the first time he has broken through to the Saint Realm, and he has never fought against a strong person of this level before, he has no definition of the strength of the Saint Realm. System, host, you are now at the 2nd level of the Saint Realm. Your true combat power is comparable to the 8th level of the Saint Realm. If you use the Xuanhuan Thorn, your power can reach the 10th level of the Saint Realm, which is the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. The Saint Realm is different from the Heavenly Realm. There are 10 small realms in the Saint Realm, which are divided into 10 heavens. After reaching the 10th level of the Saint Realm, you can enter the Great Saint Realm. Okay. Dongfang Yuan is still able to accept his current strength. By the way, system, use the 9-turn reincarnation pill. I want to understand the power of reincarnation, that is using. Dongfang Yuan suddenly felt his eyes go dark, and then, his consciousness seemed to have fallen into reincarnation. After he used the 9 reincarnation pill, 9 reincarnation memories appeared in his mind. In his first life, he was a flower picker who targeted women from good families, with a record of more than 3,000. In the end, he died a bad death. His meridians were severed and his body was thrown into the wilderness. In his second life, he was an ancient emperor who dominated a world and had the power to reach heaven and earth, but in the end, he died tragically at the hands of the woman he trusted most, and the plot was extremely bloody. In his third life, he was a doctor, specializing in treating some difficult and complicated diseases. Finally, he gave birth to 18 sons, who provided him with a peaceful old age. In the fourth life, he was a member of the demon cult. Because he fell in love with the holy girl of the demon cult, he worked hard to grow up, and finally became the leader of the demon cult, and he embraced the beauty, but the end was not very good. Because he wanted to seize the position of leader, he secretly killed the saint's father. In the end, after the saint learned the truth, he died with him. In his fifth life, he was a monster and was swallowed by a real dragon as soon as he was born. In the sixth life, he was a genius of a generation, and became famous in 3,000 worlds at a young age. Unfortunately, if a tree is still in the forest, the wind will destroy it. While he was out, he was attacked by someone and eventually died. In the seventh life, he was a divine master who once discussed things with the heavens. In the eighth life, he was the king of 10,000 gus, refining tens of thousands of gus in the world and causing harm to the world. In the ninth life, he was an ordinary person in the world. He married a wife and had children, and finally stayed together in the world of mortals. After experiencing 9 reincarnations, at this moment, Dongfang Yuan's eyes slowly opened. He opened his palms, and a trace of the power of 6 reincarnations lingered on them. Yes. After experiencing 9 lives, he was very lucky and successfully understood the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. System, how should I use these 6 paths of reincarnation? Dongfang Yuan couldn't help but ask. System, host, the 6 paths of reincarnation is one of the most mysterious and unpredictable forces in the world. System, if you want to use it, you must at least practice to the stage of minor achievement. System, after a small success, you can use the power of reincarnation to condense the gate of reincarnation and send anyone into the gate of reincarnation. If you are strong enough, you can also summon some powerful beings who have entered reincarnation from the gate of reincarnation. After listening to the system's explanation, Dongfang Yuan was stunned. In other words, if I only have enough strength, I can summon the soul of a former great emperor like Xinghai from the gate of reincarnation. System, yes. After hearing the system's exact answer, Dongfang Yuan suppressed his inner excitement and surprise. Now that the power of 6 paths of reincarnation is under control, he is not in a hurry. Now, he has obtained the night moon crystal. Next, only Tianyan 9-leaf clover is left. Calculating the time, people from Fengyun sect only have a day or 2 left to arrive at Tianyan Imperial City. He was particularly looking forward to the wedding ceremony with Xiao Qinglei and Han Wanxiang, and he was almost ready to capture her. How could he go into seclusion to practice the 6 paths of reincarnation at this critical moment? Isn't this self-destruction of Taoism? Without any extra hesitation, Dongfang Yuan directly summoned Han Wanxiang, preparing to let her cultivate his feelings while she was taking care of him to bathe and change clothes. Acacia, after Elder Li and Elder Hua left the Tianyan Dynasty, they immediately returned to the Xuanhuan sect. At this time, in a palace, the two of them told everything that happened in Tianyan Palace to the leader of the Xuanhuan sect, Han Yingquan, who was sitting at the top. Sect Master, this is what happened. That Dongfang Yuan is simply lawless. Not only is he detaining the saint in disguise, he also doesn't take our Xuanhuan sect seriously at all. Please ask the sect master to immediately send the strongest men in the sect to the Tianyan Dynasty to rescue the saint. Elder Hua begged with an anxious look on his face. Han Yunkuan sat above, his face a little solemn, his eyebrows slightly wrinkled. You are saying that there was no violent movement in the hall, and that Yida was directly suppressed. Are you sure about this? Sect master, this is certain. We and the saint have been watching at the door. After the palace was closed, nothing happened. When the door opened again, the Yidao had been suppressed, and was dragged out by Dongfang Yuan's subordinate Tai Poyan by his hair. Elderly reported seriously. In this way, the Tianyan dynasty is a bit unbelievable. Han Yunkuan is quite calm and has a sensible mind. Although his daughter was in Dongfang Yuan's hands, he still remained awake and did not panic. Instead, he immediately thought about how powerful the experts were in the Tianyan dynasty, so that he could quickly suppress Yida without any movement. Chapter 65, Capture the Saint of Acacia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I saw Han Yunkuan pondering for a while, and finally said, "That's all, I'll go there myself and see who is the saint in this Tianyan dynasty." Han Yunkuan thought about it and sent others. He was a little worried about another accident, and if we invite the ancestor to go, it would be a bit too fussy, and since his daughter is still in the hands of others, it is naturally impossible for him to be a bad person, so it would be safer to go in person. You too. If something happens during this period of our absence, you can go directly to the deputy sect master and the general manager, and leave all matters to them to resolve. Yes. Sect master. The two elders responded immediately. Then, Han Yunkuan turned around and disappeared into the hall. Now that Qian Shinro is pregnant, it will be difficult to touch her again in the near future. Dongfang Yuan was itching and focused on Han Wanxiang. Rogue! Hurry up! You've seen it all, come here quickly and put me in my pajamas. Why are you still covering your face? Hurry up! Otherwise, I will regard you as violating the agreement. Finally, at Dongfang Yuan's request, Han Wanxiang and he both finished bathing. Dongfang Yuan also directly asked Han Wanxiang to warm his bed. This time, there was no expression of disgust on Han Wanxiang's face. Some are just entangled. However, under Dongfang Yuan's repeated urging, Han Wanxiang agreed. She got into bed wearing pajamas and used the warmth of her body and skin to help Dongfang Yuan warm the bed. By the way, which strong man are you reincarnated? And General Feipeng, I have never heard of such a number one figure in the Tianyan dynasty. Can you tell me about it? At this time, hiding under the quilt, Han Wanxiang became interested and asked curiously. Okay. Tonight, I will give you a good talk. Dongfang Yuan smiled, then lifted up the quilt and lay down next to Han Wanxiang. Feeling the warmth inside the quilt, Dongfang Yuan had a satisfied and comfortable smile on his face. Han Wanxiang was startled. Immediately get up and leave. What are you doing? This quilt is very warm, what are you doing up? Dongfang Yuan grabbed her hand and asked knowingly. Han Wanxiang was a little at a loss for a while, her face was flushed with shyness. This was the first time she lay so close to a man on the same bed. Although I have a deep curiosity about Dongfang Yuan in my heart, I am attracted by his mysterious temperament, but she was not prepared at all for the two of them sleeping together in such close proximity. Now that the quilt is warm, it's time for me to leave. Let's talk about it next time. Han Wanxiang still wanted to leave because she was too shy. Wanxiang, this emperor has the right to ask the maid to sleep with him. Dongfang Yuan must have said. Han Wanxiang paused and frowned. Dongfang Yuan added, however, I don't intend to force you. I asked you to stay, just to let you chat with me for a while. If you want to leave, feel free to leave. I won't force you. Dongfang Yuan's eyes changed, and his eyes were full of affection. Han Wanxiang was caught off guard when Dongfang Yuan suddenly changed the subject. Is this person not going to force himself? So sincere. Han Wanxiang is the same person as Xiao Qingli, who is soft-hearted but not hard-hearted. At this time, she thought again and again, and finally lay down. Tell me, let's talk. The two of them were lying on the same bed. Dongfang Yuan put his hands behind his head and said slowly, "This emperor is indeed reincarnated. This is true. As for Feipeng, they are all my former subordinates and will be reincarnated with me. Come. As for the true identity, I can't tell you yet." When Han Wanxiang heard these words, she confirmed her inner guess. Sure enough, as rumored by the outside world, Dongfang Yuan is the reincarnation. Then, what is your purpose in asking me to be your maid? Han Wanxiang asked hesitantly. Dongfang Yuan looked sincerely and looked at her lovingly with his eyes. If I say it, I don't have any purpose. In other words, my goal is you, do you believe it? Humph. You don't come here. Do you think this saint is a 3-year-old girl? Is she that easy to deceive? You are such a passionate man, Miss Qian, Princess Xiao and that Medusa, aren't they all your targets too? Now you are so affectionate with me, do you think I believe it? Han Wanxiang snorted coldly and said a little arrogantly. Dongfang Yuan's expression remained unchanged. At this time, he slowly stretched his hand towards Han Wanxiang and put his arm around her shoulders. He held her body over and looked into each other's eyes. The tenderness in Dongfang Yuan's eyes did not diminish, and he said sincerely, "Wanxiang, that's because there is a difference in your cognition. Who told you that passion and affection cannot coexist at the same time? Although I fell in love with you all at the same time, I am very sincere to each of you. My love for you can be seen in the sun and the moon, and expressed in the heaven and earth. You also know that with my current strength, it will not be difficult to get you by force. But that will only make the woman I love hate me for the rest of my life. I definitely don't want to see this, so I will never do such a thing. Wanxiang, do you understand the emperor's feelings for you?" Dongfang Yuan pressed his face against Han Wanxiang's face affectionately. Han Wanxiang was confused by this man's sudden confession, but I don't know why, seeing Dongfang Yuan showing such true feelings, his inner vigilance completely disappeared. The fascination with Dongfang Yuan in his heart completely burst out at this moment. Her cheeks were as red as apples, the heart rate accelerated even more, beating extremely fast and continuously. Dongfang Yuan held Han Wanxiang's hand tightly at this moment, turned sideways, and said face to face, "Wanxiang, I heard your heart beating. You've fallen in love with me too, right?" I suddenly asked this question. Han Wanxiang was a little confused and didn't know how to answer. At this time, Dongfang Yuan saw Han Wanxiang like this. He was so experienced that he kissed her directly, feeling the softness of Han Wanxiang's lips. Han Wanxiang's eyes widened and she was a little shocked for a moment, but Dongfang Yuan hugged her body tightly, giving her the ultimate sense of security, and his mouth was experiencing waves of numbness. Gradually, Han Wanxiang was willing to fall completely into despair. Chapter 66 Fengyun Sect is coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a night of tossing, Dongfang Yuan also experienced the taste of the holy body of Acacia in a true sense, pure numbness with lightning. Ice cold, warm. Really unforgettable. The next day, noon, Dongfang Yuan slowly opened his eyes. After a night of hard work, he just woke up at this moment. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Han Wanxiang lying next to him with messy hair. Looking at the corners of her eyes, there were 2 traces of tears. Dongfang Yuan gently stroked Han Wanxiang's face, feeling very happy inside. Not only did he successfully capture Han Wanxiang, but he also absorbed the vitality of the holy body of Xuanhuan. The system has said before that the Yuan Yin of the Acacia holy body can greatly improve one's cultivation, and it is an excellent tonic. As predicted, after uniting with Han Wanxiang's soul, Dongfang Yuan's cultivation level directly broke through from the 2nd level of Saint Realm to the 3rd level of Saint Realm. A small boundary has been broken through, but this is the realm of a saint. Now Dongfang Yuan, if he takes out the Qianquan thorn, he can already fight against the great sage, and because of Dongfang Yuan's touch, Han Wanxiang's cheeks moved and she woke up with hazy eyes. "Xiang'er, you're awake. Thank you for your hard work, I almost exhausted my emperor Xiang'er." Dongfang Yuan put his arms around Han Wanxiang and said, "I don't feel like getting out of bed and moving around today. Don't do that next time. I want to sleep a little longer." Han Wanxiang's aggrieved look was very endearing. It is good. Then you have a good rest, and I will take care of things first. Dongfang Yuan smiled and then left the palace. It is less than 300 miles away from the Tianyan Dynasty in the sky. At this time, several ships flew past at high speed in the sky, and they were the ships of Fengyun Sect. At this moment, on the deck of one of the ships, Han Zhao, the deputy sect master of Fengyun Sect, and Emolini, the great elder, were standing on the deck. In addition, there was a thin old man wearing a black robe standing in front of the two people. This old man has triangular eyes, an aquiline nose, and a bad guy's face. Just looking at his face gives people a very vicious feeling, and this person is none other than the ancestor of Fengyun Sect, Guizhangxing. Ancestor, there is less than half an hour left before arriving at Tianyan Imperial City. Should we talk to Dongfang Yuan directly at that time, or what? Emolini asked. Talk. Ha. He deserves it too. When we get to the Tianyan Dynasty, we can directly ask them to hand over the Yida and kneel down to accept the surrender. This will avoid the death penalty. Otherwise, I will directly use the power of the holy weapons to completely destroy the Tianyan Dynasty. Oni Tsangxing said with disdain. He doesn't care whether Dongfang Yuan is the reincarnation of a strong man, but now he holds Fengyun Sect's holy weapon in his hand, full of strength and confidence. In such a situation, Fengyun Sect must take the absolute initiative. If Dongfang Yuan dares to threaten them with the Shadow Blade, then he will naturally let Dongfang Yuan see what kind of fate he will get if he dares to threaten their Fengyun Sect. Han Zhao still felt that something was wrong. He was more cautious and warned, Ancestor, I think it is better not to underestimate the enemy too much. How about this, after we arrive? Let's attract Dongfang Yuan's attention head-on, let the great elder sneak in from the side, and look for an opportunity to see if there is any chance of rescuing the third elder. That the idea proposed by Han Zhao is relatively safe. Emolini, who was standing next to him, also agreed with his face. However, Oni Tsangxing was a little dissatisfied. He turned around and said with a somewhat serious face, Do you not believe in my strength? Or do you not believe in the foundation of the holy weapons of Fengyun Sect? Ancestor. Han Zhao would never dare. I really didn't mean that, please don't misunderstand me. Han Zhao's expression changed and he quickly gave way to the wrong person. Humph. It's just a Tianyan dynasty. In my era, this Tianyan dynasty was not even a first-rate force. Our Fengyun Sect has even deployed its sacred weapons. The Overlord-level force has dispatched the holy soldiers. What? Do you still need to beat around the bush and play tricks with them? Gekangsing said with some dissatisfaction. He believed in his heart that their current lineup was enough to overwhelm the Tianyan dynasty. If they use some more conspiracies and tricks, that's all disrespectful to him and the holy soldier's heritage. Yes. Han Zhao said the wrong thing, please don't worry about it, Ancestor. In such a situation, Han Zhao naturally could not say anything more. At this time, in the main hall of Tianyan Dynasty, Dongfang Yuan was sitting in the hall. Xuanhuan and King Tianyu hurried in from the door. Your Majesty, the evacuation of all living creatures in the imperial city has now been completed. Furthermore, Marshal Tai has summoned an army of 300 million men, led by Chonglou Zongzong and Arrow God Zongzong. As soon as Fengyun Sect's people enter the city, they can immediately attack them. Tianyu Wanghui reported. Your Majesty, Fengyun Sect's ships are still more than 200 miles away from the imperial city, and they should arrive in about half an hour. Said Xuanhuan. Dongfang Yuan sat above, with Shao Qingli sitting on his left and Medusa sitting on his right. Two queens assisting one emperor is a unique thing in this world. Dongfang Yuan nodded slowly. At this time, Feipeng walked in and reported, Your Majesty, the construction of the Double Dragon Heavenly Palace has been completed and is ready to leave at any time. It is good. My beloved concubine, let's go. The two of you will ride with me on the Double Dragon Heavenly Palace and leave the palace to meet the enemy. Dongfang Yuan stood up and took Shao Qingli and Medusa directly out of the hall. Feipeng, Xuanhuan and others followed closely behind. Except for Feipeng and Medusa, everyone else, including Shao Qingli, were a little curious. What exactly is the double dragon heavenly palace that His Majesty asked Feipeng to build with great effort? Tianyan Imperial City. Because of the Fengyun Sect's attack, the Tianyan Dynasty evacuated the people in the Imperial City in advance. Nowadays, the streets in the entire city look extremely empty, with almost no pedestrians visible on the streets. At this time, on the roof of an inn a little distance from the palace, Han Yinquan's figure appeared here. He originally wanted to save his daughter, but since the people from Fengyun Sect were coming, he didn't hesitate to stay here and take a look. First, if Tianyan Dynasty loses, he can also come forward to protect Han Wanxiang. After all, the Fengyun Sect will definitely give the Xuanhuan Sect's head the face, but if Fengyun Sect loses, that would be terrible. Call out. At this time, Han Yinquan suddenly noticed some movement around him. He didn't look back, but said with an indifferent expression, "Now that you're here, come out." P.S. Recently, the new book is still being released for the first time. I hope that everyone can buy some small gifts after reading it. Free ones are also acceptable, and remind you to update more. I also hope that everyone can follow it every day and don't keep books. If the back of the book is developed, the number of updates by the author will also increase. Chapter 67. All eyes are on. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Haha, Brother Han is indeed Brother Han. I didn't expect you to notice me from such a long distance. At this time, in the nearby sky, two figures flew towards Han Yinquan. They were two middle-aged men, one tall and mighty, the other tall and thin, looking like gentlemen, holding a paper fan. The identities of these two people are Ming Jinqi, the deputy sect leader of Wuji Sect, and Gu Junli, the deputy sect leader of Tianjin Sect. Wuji Sect and Tianjin Sect are the other two overlord-level forces in the Northern Territory, and both of them are the second-in-command in the sect. Han Yinquan's face was calm, and he was not surprised that they would appear here. After all, the Fengyun Sect sent people to the Tianyan Dynasty and dispatched 20 elites at once, so they must be prepared to start a war. Such a wonderful scene, as they are both overlords, they naturally want to come and watch it. Brother Ming, Brother Gu, you two arrived early enough. What? Could it be that you also have plans for the Tianyan Dynasty? Want to get a share of the pie with Fengyun Sect? Han Yinquan asked calmly. Brother Han is joking. We are just here to witness the outcome of this battle, just like Brother Han. We have no intention of intervening. It's just that the two of us are a little surprised. This time, Brother Han, as the head of a sect, actually came in person. It's really surprising. Gu Jun and Li Romo smiled slowly and said, obviously, the two of them had no idea that Han Wanxiang was trapped in Tianyan Palace. Therefore, Han Yinquan's arrival in person seemed a bit unexpected. This sect is just a little curious. I want to see how the Tianyan Dynasty, which has been gaining momentum recently, will end up if it faces Fengyun Sect. Han Yinquan's face was indifferent, and there was no trace of happiness or anger. Oh. What Brother Han means by this is that he thinks the Tianyan Dynasty has a chance of winning. Ming Jinqi asked. Han Yinquan smiled, I didn't say that. However, there are no absolutes in this world. If something unexpected happens, we can't say for sure. Gu Junli nodded. Brother Han is right, there are no absolutes in the world. Before they have a thorough confrontation, they cannot draw any conclusions without authorization. Furthermore, the Fengyun Sect's ships were allowed to pass all the way to Dongfang Yuan. They didn't stop any of the cities they went to. They were allowed to go straight to the imperial city. If Dongfang Yuan wasn't confident enough, he could turn the tide. Then he is too arrogant to do such stupid things. Gu Zili said, fanning the paper fan. Let's look at today. Han Yinquan said. Immediately, the three people stood up in the air, hiding in the sky in clouds, overlooking the entire imperial city below. Not long after, dark clouds suddenly came over the Tianyan Dynasty, and the entire imperial city suddenly felt depressing. It was as if the sky was blocked and the sun was blocked, ushering in the end of the world. Fengyun Sect's ships were huge, and each one kept pace with each other and entered the Tianyan imperial city. The huge hull almost covered all The light in the sky, buzz. On the ship, there was a sound of spiritual gushes from the rear, as if announcing their arrival. The momentum was sensational. Figures of strong men from Fengyun sect appeared on the deck of the ship. They looked arrogant, and their whole bodies exuded a very strong aura. The morale of the 20 elite disciples is huge and inspiring. People from the Tianyan Dynasty, please get out quickly. An elder from the Fengyun sect was seen standing on the deck, his voice like thunder, shouting towards the Tianyan palace, bang bang bang. You are so presumptuous. You are not qualified to act wild in our Tianyan imperial city. At this moment, bursts of shouts suddenly sounded from all around. In the sky around the Tianyan dynasty, Feipeng, Jianshen, and Chonglou were seen leading millions of troops, surrounding them from all directions, beating drums and shouting, waving flags in support, and the sound of wind breaking through thorns came one after another. Millions of soldiers got into shape, with a majestic momentum, exuding fierce power, and came out with oppression. Under the leadership of Feipeng and Chonglou, the soldiers of the Tianyan dynasty were in high spirits. They were not afraid of the name of the Fengyun sect. They directly took the soldiers in their hands and densely surrounded the ships of the Fengyun sect from the inside and outside. And the arrow god is holding a disheveled shadow knife, standing in the sky. Demon Xinghai had his hands behind his back, and his pair of demon eyes that could withstand the sky immediately showed his indifference and coldness. Ancestor, we are surrounded. The Tianyan dynasty seems to have been prepared for a long time. The formation of this million-strong army has been rehearsed day and night, and it looks like an elite team. Emolini, the great elder of Fengyun sect, said to Gekangsing. Bonitsangxing looked disdainful. Oh, they are just a larger number of ants. In front of me, they are just mediocre. No matter how many people there are, I can wipe them all out with just one palm. As a half-saint, Bonitsangxing has the confidence to destroy an elite army by himself. Besides, he still has the holy weapons on his body, so he will not take the people of Tianyan dynasty seriously. Emolini nodded, and then his figure flew out of the ship and stood in the sky, opposite Feipeng and others. Emolini also saw the shadowy Dao held by the arrow god. He frowned suddenly. In just a few days, Yingdao was tortured to this point. This Tianyan dynasty is going too far. Where's Dongfang Yuan? Aren't you coming out yet? Are you going to be a hidden rat, hiding from people and not daring to see people? Emolini shouted in a cold tone in the direction of Feipeng and the others. Ha 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 ha. If I am a mouse, then your Fengyun sect is no longer qualified to be leftovers. A mocking tone full of jest came from the distant horizon like thunder. Then everyone turned around and looked around. I saw 2 ice spirit white dragons that were more than 30 meters long, with dragon horns emitting a strong cold light on their heads. The beasts had some scars on their bodies and flew towards this place while pulling a jade crystal palace that was as big as a house. This is like 2 dragons pulling a cart, but what they are pulling is a beautifully decorated jade crystal palace. There are glazed mirrors around it, which can be seen from the inside but difficult to see from the outside. And with 2 ice-spirited white dragons there, it can even block soul exploration. In addition, Feipeng, Xuanhuan, and Xuanhuan were guarding the edge of the double dragon palace. Dongfang Yuan was too lazy to lie in the jade crystal palace, with only a gauze curtain door visible. He was leaning on her at this moment, holding Shao Qingli in one hand and Medusa in the other. His face was calm, not caring at all about the pressure put on them by Fengyun sect in front of them, and Emolini, including many people on the field, couldn't help but change their expressions in surprise when they saw the ice spirit white dragons pulling the cart at both ends. P.S. If the gift exceeds 100, an additional chapter will be added. I hope you will reward me more, thank you. Chapter 68 On the Eve of the Fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 ice-spirited white dragons from Jitian Ice Mountain. How can that be? How could they pull a cart for Dongfang Yuan? Emolini was very shocked, including Han Zhao and some elders of Fengyun sect on the ship at this time. They could not help but frown. It felt a little unexpected. Before the fight even started, Dongfang Yuan gave them a little surprise. At this time, above the clouds and mist in the sky, Han Yingkuan and Gu Junli were also standing here. The ice spirit white dragon was actually surrendered by the Tianyan dynasty. This is really a strange thing. Gu Juanli said in shock. Yes. This is indeed a bit bizarre. Although these two ice spirit white dragons are not of true dragon blood, they still belong to the branch lineage of the dragon clan. And their cultivation levels are not low. Both of them are at the 8th level of the heavenly realm. Even the overlords like us don't want to provoke them too much. How did Dongfang Yuan surrender? Ming Jinshi also felt a little shocked. To the north of the Northern Territory, there is an iceberg that has not melted for hundreds of thousands of years, called the Jitian Iceberg. There are two ice spirit white dragons living on this mountain. On weekdays, almost no one would choose to provoke them for no reason. One is because Jitian Iceberg is located on the border, has heavy snow all year round, and has scarce resources, making it completely unprofitable. The second is the strength of these two ice spirit white dragons. If they are combined, even those at the peak of Tianzuan realm cannot easily win. Basically, all the people from overlord-level forces would not take any chances with these two ice spirit white dragons, but he didn't expect that these two ice spirit white dragons would be captured by Dongfang Yuan to pull the cart. If word of this spread, it would be another major event that could shock the Northern Territory. Mo Lini calmed down. He looked calmly and looked into the Jade Crystal Palace. Dongfang Yuan, you captured the third elder of my Fengyun sect, and you used this to blackmail my Fengyun sect. Did you know that you have committed a capital crime? If you let the third elder go now and take the lead in surrendering, we, Fengyun sect, can consider sparing you the death penalty. If not, the elite of our Fengyun sect will raise your Tianyan Dynasty to the ground today, leaving no one behind. Mo Lini's firm and cold tone resounded throughout the sky. The Fengyun sect collective is always ready for war. However, Dongfang Yuan in the Jade Crystal Palace did not take him seriously at all. He patted it gently. Roar. Suddenly, the auras from the two ice spirit white dragons were released directly. The two auras flanked Mo Lini and knocked him back. Dongfang Yuan. You. Mo Lini was immediately furious, and the power of these two beasts made him tremble. He and the two ice spirit white dragons were both at the 8th level of the heavenly realm, but the beastly power of the two white dragons was superior to his. If it were a head-to-head fight, he basically had no chance of winning. Mo Lini, I seem to have said that if you want to save Ing, you can use Tianyu 9-leaf clover in exchange. I allowed your Fengyun sect to arrive at our Tianyan imperial city unhindered all the way, and also showed my emperor's pattern and sincerity to the people of the world. What? Do you think Ing Yidao's life is not important, or do you mean you don't want to save him at all? You showed me such humiliation as soon as you came here. I really give you enough humiliation. That's it, that's all. Arrow God, kill Ing Yida with one sword. Since Fengyun sect doesn't care about his life or death, then why should we care about what he does? In the Jade Crystal Palace, Dongfang Yuan's moody voice came out. Yes, your majesty. The arrow god didn't hesitate. He took the pinch in his hand and was about to strike at Ing Yida. You. 9, Wei, save me. Ing Yidao was so frightened that his legs became weak. It's a pity that his cultivation level was blocked and he couldn't speak clearly when he asked for help. Wait. Just when the arrow god was about to take action, Mo Lini said hurriedly. The arrow god's hand stopped in mid-air and looked towards the Jade Crystal Palace. What? Mo Lini, do you want to save him again now? Dongfang Yuan asked with a joking smile. At this time, sitting in the Jade Crystal Palace, Dongfang Yuan was also holding Xiao Qingli and eating the fruit fed to him by Medusa. Dongfang Yuan is probably the only one who can be so relaxed in such a scene. Are you true to your word? As long as I give you the Tianyu 9-leaf grass, you will let the third elder go? Mo Lini asked cautiously. This emperor is the head of the dynasty and the king of a country. His words will naturally count. Dongfang Yuan said. It is good. Give you. Let go. Mo Lini didn't waste any more. He took out a storage bag and threw it towards the Jade Crystal Palace. After Xuanhuan caught it, he opened it and confirmed that it was correct. Your Majesty, this is indeed the Tianyu 9-leaf grass. After hearing this, Dongfang Yuan kissed Xiao Qingli's little face with a happy expression. Now there are Tianyu 9-leaf grass and night moon crystal. Next, she only needs to make her a queen, and then she can have a baby in the bridal chamber with an empress who has memories. After spending so long, I must give her hundreds of gifts worth trillions. Xiao Qingli was hugged by Dongfang Yuan. When she heard that Tianyu 9-leaf grass had been obtained, her expression became a little bright, but then it turned back to cold. It is good. The emperor is true to his word, god of arrow, let him go. Dongfang Yuan's voice came out, the arrow god didn't say anything, and directly released the binding seal of Yidao, and threw him in the direction of Fengyun Sect's ship. Yidao recovered his cultivation and immediately flew to Emolini's side. He used his strength to recover from his physical injuries. After successfully saving Jiang Yida, Emolini had no worries at all. At this moment, he said with a cold face, "Okay, now the transaction is over. The next thing is between Fengyun Sect and your Tianyan Dynasty. Dongfang Yuan, today, you have only two choices. One is surrender. And the other is death." The people of Tianyan Dynasty were not shocked at all by Emolini's sudden change of attitude at this moment. Dongfang Yuan replied in a relaxed and natural tone, "You have said so I have no choice but to choose. 3. Then we'll keep you all here, and none of you can leave." At this time, listening to Dongfang Yuan's rampant and arrogant words, all the Fengyun sect, including the 3 who were hiding in the clouds and watching the battle, felt that Dongfang Yuan was a little too arrogant. "Be careful, they." Yidao was about to say that they had a strong semi-saint, but was directly interrupted by a disdainful laugh. "Ha ha ha ha. What a arrogant boy. He wants to prevent even one of our Fengyun sect from leaving. Even the ancestors of your Tianyan dynasty would not dare to say such things." Chapter 69 Chonglou takes action, everyone is shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I saw Fengyun sect ancestor Guizhang Xing, taking Han Zhao and a group of Fengyun sect elders behind him, flying off the ship one after another and standing in the sky. Ancestor. Yidao was shocked. He didn't expect that his ancestor would personally come to save him, but now that he saw Gekangsing, he originally wanted to say that there was a semi-saint in Tianyan Dynasty, but because he was too excited, he temporarily forgot about it, and above the sky. Oni Tsangxing actually came in person. Half-saints are dispatched. It seems that Fengyun sect is extremely determined to destroy the Tianyan dynasty, Gu Junli said with a slightly frightened expression after seeing Gekangsing appear. Gui Tsangxing is here. The combat power of the semi-saint level cannot be resisted by the Tianzuan level. It seems that there is probably no hope for Tianyan dynasty today. Ming Jinqi stood next to Gu Junli and said with a calm expression. Han Yingquan looked at the current situation and remained silent. It was hard to tell what he was thinking. However, the appearance of Gekangsing did not dampen the morale of the soldiers of Tianyan dynasty. On the contrary, many people are indifferent, and more of them are because they don't know Oni Tsangxing at all. Those who knew him, such as Xuanhuan and King Tianyu, also had calm expressions on their faces. Your Fengyun sect has half-saints, doesn't it mean that our Tianyan dynasty doesn't have one? Old guy, what you said is quite absolute. As the saying goes, youth is better than blue. The ancestors of the Tianyan dynasty can lead the Tianyan dynasty into a top power. This is their pinnacle. And I, Dongfang Yuan, will bring the Tianyan dynasty to a height that is unprecedented, and has never been reached by anyone. A peak that no one can break. Don't think that just because you are a half-saint, you can act recklessly in front of our Tianyan dynasty. There are many people under my emperor who can capture you. Dongfang Yuan's domineering voice swept out from the Jade Crystal Palace. This directly made Gekangsing, Han Zhao and others look a little gloomy, too embarrassing. Dongfang Yuan's arrogance is so arrogant that people want to kill him. Oni Tsangxing said coldly with disdain, joke. Even though I am a semi-saint in the Northern Territory, I dare not be so arrogant as to claim to be invincible. But if I want to destroy your little Tianyan, it will not be difficult for me. Gekangsing's voice had just finished speaking, the semi-holy aura on his body spread out with him as the center, and the huge holy power was not comparable to that of the Tianzuan realm, even though they were far apart. Xuanhuan, King Tianyu and others all vaguely felt a huge pressure. And Gekangsing's target is Dongfang Yuan. His coercion slowly crushed them, and the two ice spirit white dragons could not bear the huge pressure and began to retreat slightly. However, Dongfang Yuan inside the Jade Crystal Palace was not affected at all. With his current level of cultivation, the pressure of the semi-saint level is nothing more than scratching an itch for him. I saw him smiling evilly. Old guy. You said you didn't dare to claim to be invincible in the Northern Territory. But, I dare. Chonglou, take action and capture him. Dongfang Yuan's tone changed and he immediately issued an order. Yes, Your Majesty. Mo Zhenglu, who was standing next to Tai Poyan, immediately responded with respect. Next second, a half-saint level demonic power bloomed from Zhonglu's body. The huge demonic power was rolling in the sky, pressing towards Gekangsing in the sky. The two men clashed with each other in momentum, and waves suddenly shook out. Zhonglu stood tall in the storm, unscathed. However, Oni Tsangxing was knocked back several steps by the extremely strong storm current, and finally stabilized his figure. Half-saint. There is actually a strong semi-saint in the Tianyan Dynasty. Chonglu's move shocked the Fengyun Sect's disciples and elders, including Han Zhao, Mo Lini and Guizhangxing himself. Their eyes were also a bit incomprehensible, full of tremors and doubts. Is there a semi-saint in Tianyan Dynasty? How is this possible? There are only 5 semi-saint level experts in the Northern Territory. They are among the 5 overlord level forces, and they are all ancestor level figures. Why is there still a semi-saint in Tianyan Dynasty? Moreover, looking at him like this, it is obvious that he listens to Dongfang Yuan. This made them even more confused and shocked. Even if Dongfang Yuan is reincarnated, it is impossible to cultivate a semi-saint at the level of Tianzuan, right? This is too appalling. As for the 3 of them, Han Yunkuan and Gu Juanli, the moment the demon Zhenglu took action, their expressions changed dramatically and their whole bodies were shocked. Half-saint strong man. This man turns out to be a powerful semi-saint. What method did Dongfang Yuan use? How could he have cultivated a semi-saint level powerhouse without anyone noticing? Gu Juanli and Ming Jinqi were both shocked. This incident was enough to shock the entire Northern Territory. With a half-saint sitting in charge, the Tianyan Dynasty can be said to be infinitely close to becoming a hegemonic force. If they could possess the foundation of a holy weapon, the pattern of the Northern Territory would really be completely rewritten. The 5 overlord level forces may directly become the 6 overlords. Today is really not in vain. Such a shocking scene. It seems that it is not that simple for the Fengyun sect to overthrow the Tianyan Dynasty. This Dongfang Yuan is indeed a terrifying character. Brother Han, what do you think? Gu Juanli gave Dongfang Yuan a very high evaluation. In his opinion, the Tianyan Dynasty could become what it is today because of Dongfang Yuan's single-handed change. This person must have once dominated the world. Otherwise, even some ordinary powerful reincarnations would not have been able to elevate the Tianyan Dynasty to such a terrifying level in such a short period of time. Han Yunkuan also said at this moment, it is indeed shocking, and in that blow just now, it was obvious that the one named Chonglou had the upper hand. Oni Tsangxing's power is actually slightly inferior. If this continues, Fengyun Sect's chances of winning are not great. But if Oni Tsangxing brings the sky-breaking sword, that's a different story. The sky-breaking sword, yes, the key is to see if he has it with him. Gu Juanli agreed. Fengyun Sect's sex-suppressing holy weapon is the sky-breaking sword, which is also a famous killing weapon in the entire Northern Territory. It is a middle-grade holy weapon. It was left behind by the ancestors who founded Fengyun Sect. A single blow can split mountains and suppress seas, and can even cause stars to collapse and the sky and earth to change color. P.S. I just added a chapter, which is also an explanation to the brothers who have been reading small gifts before. I also need your support and continuous reading of gifts, so that this book can be started quickly. Another point, and the most important thing is, don't keep the book, just read it when it is updated. Otherwise, if you keep it, the reading data will become worse, and the book will die. Please everyone. Chapter 70 Half-Saints Fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Chonglou's shot collided with Onikura Xing's power, shocking the eyes of everyone on the field. Oni Zhangxing's face was also a little gloomy. Hidden under his dark expression was his slightly frightened mood. In this Tianyan Dynasty, there is actually a strong semi-saint. I can count all the powerful semi-saints in the Northern Territory with one hand, including me. Who are you? Report your name. Gekangsing frowned slightly, stared at Chonglou, and said in a cautious tone. Dead people don't deserve to know my name. Zhonglou's tone was indifferent. The spatial wrist magic swords on his arms were as sharp as swords, exuding a cold and fierce power. Humph! What a big breath! You and I are both in the semi-saint realm, and you are so confident that you can defeat me? Gekangsing snorted coldly, although his face was a little gloomy. He was not afraid at all. He has the trump card of a holy soldier. Not to mention a half-saint, he is not afraid even if there are 10 of them together. Crap! Chonglou looked cold and was too lazy to talk nonsense. His silhouette was like a black magic light, flying towards Oni Zhangxing. The space wrist magic sword continuously cuts out dozens of scarlet magic lights. The power of the sword is terrifying. Every blow can split the stars of the sun and moon. The power of the semi-saint was vividly displayed, and the demonic power of Chonglou was released, and the sky was filled with thick and rolling demonic energy. The demonic energy that covered the sky blocked almost all light, and everyone seemed to be in a devil's cave. The disciples of Fengyun's sect couldn't help but tremble when they saw this scene. Behind his figure, a huge demonic shadow appeared, and his blood-red eyes exuded a bloodthirsty and indifferent look. The demonic power around him was greatly shaken, like an eternal demon god bathed in demonic light, accompanied by the light of Zhonglou's true body's sword descending, arriving in coordination. What a terrible breath! Is this the true strength of the half-saint? I feel like I can't breathe. Some Fengyun sect disciples on the ship, although they were separated from each other, they still felt the strong sense of oppression. The demonic power of Chonglou was everywhere, sweeping across the sky of the entire imperial city, and the impact it brought to their hearts was extremely shocking. Even people like Han Zhao, Yingidao, and Mo Lini quickly retreated away from Gekangsing. The semi-saint level experts were fighting with all their might, and the battlefield was not something that they, who were at the heavenly realm level, could get involved in. Even someone as strong as Han Zhao, who is at the peak of the heavenly realm, is just looking for abuse against a semi-saint. Humph! The appearance is quite decent, but I don't know how powerful it is. Oni Zhangxing raised his hands high, and the power in his body burst out like tornadoes, condensing and manifesting into the shadow of thousands of soldiers in front of him. There are all kinds of swords, guns, swords and halberds. The light is of various colors and extremely powerful, and they are all thousands of meters long. The shadow of each soldier exudes a very strong and rich half-saint power. The aura flows like a sharp edge. Just by getting close, the power lingering around can kill someone. Go! Oni Zhangxing pointed his fingers in the direction of Chonglou. Those soldiers were all like thousands of sharp arrows, faster than thunder, powerful, exuding strong killing power, and shot towards the building. Chonglou looked indifferent, and fired his sword light and waves of demonic waves directly into the sky to collide with Oni Zhangxing's power. Boom! The two semi-saint forces clashed, the waves surged and surged like thunder. Endless explosions continued to be heard from the sky during the confrontation. There were sounds of demonic waves being exploded, and there were sounds of soldiers being torn apart by force. The terrifying waves turned into waves of hurricanes and swept out. Almost everyone from Tianyan Dynasty and Fengyun sect were so shocked that they had no choice but to retreat, but the Double Dragon Heavenly Palace is under the protection of Feipeng and has strong support. Even if the waves come over, it will not be hurt at all. Feipeng clasped his hands on his chest at this moment, looking at the battlefield where the two were fighting. This guy Chonglou hasn't used all his strength yet. It seems that he wants to test this old guy's limits and find his fatal flaw. Feipeng stood next to Xuanhuan Heavenly Palace and said with a calm expression, Xuanhuan and King Tianyu were nearby, and they couldn't help but feel a little moved when they heard this. Haven't you tried your best yet? So how strong is the strength of this Chonglou enshrinement? After the offensive power of the two exploded, they both rushed forward and engaged in close combat. Every strike of Chonglou's space wrist demon sword carries violent and brutal power, directly suppressing Onakura Xing. Oni Zhangxing took out a long sword and kept using his sword moves to counterattack. The sword glowed like silver light, and he slashed out repeatedly, but he still couldn't hurt Chonglou at all. In the Xuanhuan Heavenly Palace, Dongfang Yuan held two beauties in his arms, eating fruit in his mouth, admiring the confrontation between the two half-saints. He smiled and said, "This old guy is quite tolerant. He is obviously at a disadvantage, so why not? I plan to use the sky-breaking sword." Guai Zhangxing is a person who really cares about face. If he were at the same level and couldn't take down the heavy tower, and could only rely on the holy soldiers to win back the city, he would feel too embarrassed. He can't let go of the arrogance in his heart. After all, if he fights against the same realm and can only rely on the holy soldiers to win in the end, even if he wins, he still loses. Xiao Qingli sat in Dongfang Yuan's arms and analyzed calmly. "Your Majesty, these people are just ants. Let Medusa take action and kill them all at once. Why waste time like this?" Medusa next to her asked with some confusion. Dongfang Yuan smiled and said, "Medusa, you can indeed kill all these people easily. Even I can do it. As long as you show your strength, I believe that it will be easy to unify the entire northern territory in a short period of time. But have you ever thought about the consequences of doing this? As a result of, Your Majesty, after we unify the northern territory, the Tianyan Dynasty will become even stronger. What will be the consequences?" Medusa asked with some confusion. Even Xiao Qingli at this moment knew Medusa's strength. Unifying the northern territory will only bring benefits and no harm to the Tianyan Dynasty. What will be the consequences? Dongfang Yuan smiled inexplicably and said, "As the saying goes, a gentleman is not good for being under a dangerous wall. My beloved, although our Tianyan Dynasty is strong now, we are not yet strong enough to dominate the world. You should also understand the truth that there is heaven outside the world and there are people outside the world." When the two women heard what Dongfang Yuan said, they understood. Xiao Qingli immediately said, "You mean that Tianyan Dynasty's trump card cannot be completely exposed, and it must always give people a feeling that they cannot see the depth, right? My beloved concubine is really smart as ice and snow. She is worthy of being a woman who once stood on top of the world." You are absolutely right. The northern territory is only a small part of this Xianzhou. Beyond the northern territory, there is the sea territory, and beyond the sea territory, there is the core of the entire Xian continent, the Zhongxing continent. With the current strength of our Tianyan dynasty, we can indeed dominate the northern territory, but if it is placed in the sea area, even the central Saint continent. The current strength of our Tianyan dynasty is far from enough. So, this is why I don't intend to reveal too many trump cards at once. You should remember one thing: if a force easily uses its most powerful trump card, then this force will not be far from destruction.